that's what exploded. We sort of blew up one MG and we blew up a second MG, so I'm going to try and start this one for the first time since we've been on the track, see what happens. Pretty sure from the smell coming out of the fuel tank for the coolant that it's blown a head gasket. It was kind of smelling a bit petrol-y in there, and it got well over 170 degrees centigrade, not Fahrenheit, because it basically blew a pipe, which I'll show you later on, and dumped the entire coolant out onto the track. And obviously, whilst concentrating on going around various different corners on the track, we weren't really concentrating on the temperatures immediately, especially after going out so soon. So unfortunately, that's just the way it goes, but let's have a look, let's get this started and see what happens. Let's have a listen. Sounds a bit bad. Bit rattly, not too bad. Although, the engine light's definitely on. Yeah, let's have a look at that, see what that is. So I said we'd have a look at the pipe. I've got the pipe in front of me now, gonna have a look at that. It's not in the best of states. I can see the gaping hole that was in there. That's what exploded. It's the link pipe to the heater on the MG. Pretty sure that didn't last more than 15 or 20 seconds before there was no coolant in the entire system, so that is definitely not great. There's a big old gaping hole, at least as big as, yeah, about 2 of my fingers. I'm going to use a natty device called a PSCAN, available from pscan.uk. so a rover specific scan tool, a little bit like the original scan tools. It's been reverse engineered. It works for BMW Land Rover, MG Rover and Land Rover ECUs, to name but a few. You can have a look on the website and see what that does. I'll show around the device in a second, but effectively it's just a scan tool with a piece of software and a laptop. We'll get into that now, and you can have a look and see what we find on the car. Got the USB connector, the OBD2 connector, and the actual PSCAN device itself with its USB port. And we've got a laptop, which we've installed the software. Let's get that running now. So let's get this OBD port exposed. It's underneath the driver's side, underneath the steering wheel. You can just about see the OBD port just up there in the corner. To get the OBD connector, put it in there. Should enable us now to see PSCAN. There we go, flashing away, that's excellent. Already plugged in the other side of the OBD connector into it. We've got the USB lead plugged in, and then we can plug this end back into the computer, and then we can fire up our software. We've got a fair number of codes there. They all seem sensible ones for something that's overheated. The engine hot lamp output control circuit malfunction. Wow, doesn't really surprise me. Plenty to be working with there, and I definitely get the feeling we got quite a bit of work to be doing.
Hi everyone, I hope you're enjoying an absolutely glorious afternoon. It's about 2.5 weeks since the track day, and if you watch the video through to the end, you'll know that on the way back from the pits to the paddock, my car did this. Thankfully that happened on the way back to the paddock and not whilst I was out on the track. I think, to be honest, there was a potential for that to have gone any time during the day. Every time, right from the first session that I took the car out onto the track, the oil temperature was going up and up and up and getting really quite hot, getting really close to the red zone. My working theory is that the oil temperature getting so hot meant that the engine was getting very hot, which then overwhelmed the cooling system. The reason why I think that is that there was a definite lag where the cooling system temperature was a lot lower, a lot far behind the oil system temperature, and it seemed to take a long time for the cooling system to rise, but obviously when it did, it couldn't cope, and eventually the inevitable happened. Thankfully that inevitable actually happened at the end of the day, and my little MG TF, which is an absolutely excellent car, made it through. Just. So this afternoon I want to start looking at why it happened, and I need to try and work out how much damage has been done. So one of the reasons why it's taken me a little while to come out here and do this is that I was waiting for this kit. It's a CO2 tester kit. It's looking for gases in the coolant, and that would indicate that I've got a head gasket problem. I was hoping to be able to simply fill up the coolant and check whether I'm getting exhaust gas in the coolant when the car's running. Looks like I'm not going to be able to do that. It's pretty much dropping coolant out as quickly as I can put it in. So looks like I'm going to have to get it up on ramps and have a look from underneath. I'm sure the cooling system would work much better if this hose was actually connected to something. This plastic three-way splitter has failed big time. Out you come. That bit is supposed to be on there. It would be good to know why that cracked. Is it just old plastic? Was there too much pressure in the cooling system? Has it been over tightened? Whatever, that's a reasonably spectacular failure, and does explain why there was so much steam coming out the back of the car. Yeah, relatively simple fix. So spend a bit of money and a new pipe. Off camera, just going to put that hose back, and then we can carry on checking for exhaust gases in the coolant. It's now time to fill the system up, run the car up to temperature, hope that the pressure holds for long enough for me to be able to do a gas test. So I've bled the cooling system, and I'm just now waiting for the thermostat to open. We'll run this for a little bit and see what happens. Unfortunately, we can quite clearly see that that has gone yellow, so I've got a blown head gasket. Oh well. So the question I have now is, was this blown head gasket actually contributing to the engine overheating, bearing in mind that the cooling system was not getting hot until the oil temperature was very hot? Or is the head gasket purely just a casualty of the fact the engine overheated in the first place and is not the root cause? I can do the head gasket and I'm still going to have an overheating problem when it's all back together. Yeah, don't know. Time will tell.
Scotty looks to have been a busy boy. I think that's pretty good work getting on there. I've done all the electronic side of the 115. Not looked at any of the mechanical stuff yet, so the next step before we look at any of those pieces, which hopefully we will be able to fix fairly easily, going to have a look and see whether we've got compression in the engine still, check every cylinder, make sure that's okay. We'll do a check on the coolant tank as well, similar to what Scotty's already done on his. We'll check to see whether there's any exhaust gases coming out, see whether we think we might have blown the head. I'm pretty confident we probably have done. They're renowned for blowing the heads when the temperature gets hot, and that got hotter than hot with no coolant in it whatsoever at full tilt. So I think that's going to be an interesting result to see what we get from that one. Not a lot more to do other than that, other than to say, if you like this sort of video, then subscribe to the channel, give us a like, and leave a comment down below. That's all for now. We'll see you again soon on Double Duck Garage.